The following is for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised. Welcome back, guys, to our playthrough. Oh man, that's right, the alpha. Or Apex. Apex, alpha? I don't know, whatever. The nastiest of the nasty is out there right now. That really caught me off guard. I was very surprised that there was this huge freaking monster, like bigger than life itself. I would not have expected that. And now, we have to find a way to get through and defeat it. Let's see. Let's review real fast. So we have to use the Nullwave because I'm following Alex's lead on this. Brother Alex. Activate the prototype. Okay, the bridge. Much to January's chagrin. She doesn't trust Alex as far as she can throw him, but I personally am going to give him a shot. Might be a bad idea. Maybe Alex is this villain after all, but I'm going to give him a chance. Great. What do we got out here? Is that also a tentacle? I don't think you can open a door, but it's hard to tell if there's any weavers or other enemies out there. Look at this. Yeah, there's something. Oh, those are other tentacles. Okay. The good news is this thing is kind of slow. Oh, made it. Okay, so let's see. Where is... Okay, where is the bridge? Talos Bridge. We need to go from Talos Lobby to the Arboretum. God, I hate going up to the Arboretum. This place sucks. Although the Arboretum is a beautiful place, it's just surrounded by lots of difficult things to deal with. Man, that's cool. I love how the elevator takes you in real time through all this, like from bottom to top, and you can see just how this like Apex Typhon is just overwhelming Talos. I really hope this is the right decision. If it's anything like the Dishonored series, what I've learned from that series, and the only, it's not even a criticism, but the only thing I'd say I really like, actively don't like about this Dishonored series, I don't even want to say I don't like it, because it's like, it's a good thing.
Microgravity detected.
How do I say this? Oh shoot, we gotta go. Oh god. The only thing that doesn't mesh well with me in the Dishonored series is that the most fun way to play it, you get punished by that. Go, 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 go. Like, when I play Dishonored, I want to kill everyone, but you're not really supposed to do that. You're supposed to be better than that. And, like, save people and knock them unconscious, but I'm like, dude, these people are trying to kill me. Like, I want to kill them. Right back. And then if that happens, you get like the worst possible ending if you kill a bunch of people, so you gotta be super careful. And I wonder if this was what's gonna happen here. I don't know. Everybody's already dead, and I'm not sure what's gonna go down with this Apex, but we're gonna find out whether or not this is the right decision. Oh, Alex is here. Okay, so we're probably in good shape.
What the hell have you done?
Morgan.
Your operators locked me out of the comm terminal. We need to link up to the Nullwave device if we're gonna get that signal off before it's too late.
Consider the risk. Alex's plan, if it works, is only a short-term solution. None of us has the right to endanger every life on Earth.
If anyone's playing God here, it's you. Your lunatic plan denies everyone a birthright to the stars.
You know how neuromods are made. The demand will only increase. In the future Alex envisions, many will die for the benefit of a privileged few.
I'm not arguing with a glorified desktop. Kill it, Morgan.
Sorry, Morgan. I won't relinquish control of the terminal. You'll have to destroy me. Which means you'll be destroying yourself.
Fine. I'll do it myself.
sorry, Morgan. I didn't want to harm your brother. The directives you gave me require I do everything in my power to ensure you destroy Talos I and all the Typhon. Detonating the station safeguards the Earth and perhaps provides a small measure of reparation. I won't relinquish control of the terminal. If you want to activate the Nullwave, you'll have to kill me.
All right, I got to think about what I want to do here. So I wonder what would happen if I left Alex unconscious for that and killed her first. We've walked by this many times. I never noticed his body. Was it just because it was in the dark and I overlooked it? Maybe that could be it. I want to look around and think about this for a second. We've spent a lot of time in this game trying to figure stuff out. Damn.
Moving.
That's so crazy, dude. I don't know really what to do. I wish they showed more corpses out here. Or, like, outlines of bodies and stuff. That would have been pretty sweet. One thing that I really like about this game, too, while I'm thinking about what I want to do here, is that every single character in here has a name. Kind of like the Skyrim series, which I totally love. It's not, there's no unnamed NPC, except for, like, the guards or whatever, because they respawn all the time. But it's great because you have the ability, if you wanted to track down every single staff member or crew member on the ship and find their actual corpses, or if they're alive, find them, you know, alive. I don't know how this game is going to go. When back in 2017 when the game came out, which I think is when it first came out, I thought, oh man, that's going to be cool. And then I completely ignored it, overlooked it, and never looked into it. Didn't read about the plot, didn't read about, like, reviews. It just looked like a cool game that I wanted, and I never got around to getting it. So when I decided to turn to YouTube and get this game, I was pleasantly surprised at how open and beautiful this is. Granted, I have my criticisms of it because I have, like, a smooth brain, and some of the... That's really cool up there. I want that poster. That'd be sweet. Some of the, like, mechanics are a little bit too complicated or unnecessarily complicated. The controls aren't intuitive at all, and they don't really match a lot of other game controls. I don't really know why they do that. There's not really a need for it. There's no benefit. You can go in and you can change the key bindings, but some of the stuff doesn't really make sense or doesn't act appropriately, so it's a little bit weird. That, and I don't like how little ammo that we have in the game. It's not a first-person shooter necessarily, but as I said before, the enemies, like, provoke you into first-person shooting situations. And because everything is so built around the first-person shooting experience, it's weird that it's like, okay, here's a first-person shooter game, but you aren't really supposed to be shooting a lot. That is a little frustrating. If I had more ammo, we could take down more enemies much more easily, and it made me look like a total idiot. And I think also because there's so many different types of Typhon, and they have so much in terms of what they're immune against, what they are vulnerable against, what is whatever against them or whatever. Like, it's hard to remember what that is, and I don't like the pacing of the game slowing down each and every time where it's like you have to remember this enemy's vulnerability if you want to effectively take it out, and if you don't, you have to toggle back into the data, you have to look at the information on the Typhon, you have to read the research and then see what the invulnerability is, then you have to back out, then you have to go to that really clunky inventory wheel, and then you have to choose the right attack, and then you have to choose it. Like, that is just not fun. I did not like that. And so, anyway, whatever. I kind of went on a more of a review tangent than I did actually about this. But I guess I'm just kind of thinking about... My point being with all that, and what I was trying to say is I don't really know anything about what's going on. Like, there's a lot of information that we didn't collect, a lot of data, and so I don't know if we have enough evidence to necessarily know if she is bad or he is bad. It does sort of point to January being good, but I don't actually know for sure. And I think, just for the sake of entertainment purposes, we are probably going to destroy her. Because the character of Morgan, whoever she turns out to be, and whoever Alex turns out to be in the end, bad guy or whatever, like, they're still siblings. We have to at least go off of flesh and blood. There are some camera things that we've seen, like recordings or whatever, of Morgan that suggest that perhaps she was trying to leave clues that Alex was bad. And then there's other things that suggest that something else is going on, and I don't really know what all that is exactly.
Inspecting.
So,
I'll patch that for you. Job done.
so I don't really know what the right decision is, and that's on me. But I think I think for now, January has been helpful. She's been sweet and kind, but whatever.
Please pay attention.
We got an achievement called Suicide by Proxy, which suggests that that was the wrong choice. So, whatever, let's see what happens. That's rad. Did that vaporize it?
What is a neuromod? Well, it's both an easy answer and a complicated one at the same time. It is the future, today. More importantly, our past, today. This is the work TranStar does. Every employee working together. It's immortality, and it is beautiful.
I don't get it. That's the end? I don't... That was kind of weak. I know we have the DLC Moon Crash, but like... Is there more to this? Okay, well, like I said, I mean, the game has some shortcomings in my opinion. Some people may like some of those things that I don't like, but if you're gonna be super complex in story, have complex characters, complex lore, and the plot and everything tying into that being just as equally intricate and detailed, don't make the system, like, as complicated. I want to be able to freely run and gun and deal with these monsters, or just don't have them at all, or change the way that they act. It's like, I guess it would be easier if it wasn't all about... Oh, is this where the attack starts to happen? This is kind of cool. Oh, they're getting blasted. So this is actually part of it. The end credits actually include... Oh, wow. That's crazy cool. Like, don't make the enemies so challenging and strong and powerful with very little ways of sneaking around them. Phantom up at the top right. If you can't blow them away with the guns that you're given. Like, you give us... Like, half of your inventory is taken up by... like upgrade parts and other things tied to your guns, but it's like, oh, it's not a first-person shooter. Like, you shouldn't really be doing that. Like, why? Oh, so the Weaver took a corpse and turned it into a phantom. That's kind of crazy. And it's covered into the golden filament that we see. Whatever that energy is, it wasn't entirely clear. Don't get me wrong, I loved this game. But I think as a player, what I struggled with most was dealing with some sort of conflicting ideas. Oh, the freaking nightmare. F you, dude. We killed one, though, and I'm annoyed that I didn't get an achievement for that. I would have thought that killing the nightmare would have resulted in an achievement, but it doesn't. Maybe more than one. More than one kill or something like that results in an achievement. But, like, I guess it would have been much easier in the game if it didn't... make the controls intuitive, like how most other games are consistent with, like, what the keyboard and mouse feels like. When I tried to set up the controller, it, like, broke the game and I had to reset everything, and that was a huge pain in the ass. I won't go into it, but that was a nightmare. If you try to set up a controller on this and you've changed things to controller prompts, it totally ruins everything. And like I said, I won't go into it, but it was a nightmare. Thank you to our friends and families for your support. But, like, so many enemies dealing in first person is, like, allow my weapons and arsenal and stuff to be more effective. It's like so many enemies can one-shot you, but you can't do the same. Can I skip through this? Okay, I hit escape and see what happens. A hidden location. Now what?
It's finished. How did it do?
I Activation of the mirror neurons is promising. Empathy quotient shows to be exceptionally high.
It probably thinks it was dreaming, that nothing mattered.
What?
You're assuming it thinks like us.
Its life depends on it. Ours too. It all comes down to the choices it made.
It saved me from the cargo container. I would have suffocated otherwise, and later it recovered the Lightner connectomes. They were of no practical use, except that they were deeply meaningful to me. It installed multiple Typhon-based neuromods. It could mean an instinctive return to its own kind.
We're a Typhon.
Or an attempt to integrate its dual natures.
Michaela,
I died. Perhaps it could have prevented it. I don't know. Then
Dude.
there was a man in psychotronics. Ingram. That was cruel. There was no other way to see it. But
would you let it live?
yes,
Sarah, you're next.
the situation in the cargo bay was bad. None of us would have survived without its help. And it destroyed a large number of Typhon across the station. That has to be a good sign. Further, it thwarted Dar's attempt to use us as hostages. If it were one of my officers, I would give it a commendation.
Danielle, what do you say?
It found me. It didn't need to, but it did. I asked it to stop Volunteer 37. That was dangerous. No way to be sure, but I think it has a sense of retribution. There were a lot of humans controlled by the Typhon that it could have harmed. Seems like it went out of its way to avoid that. I think it's worth the risk.
In the end, it chose to activate the Nullwave device. Why? To preserve the Typhon technology? We can't really know what its motives were for anything it did.
But we have to make a choice. You can hear us, can't you? Here. I want to show you something.
Look at my hands. I'm a Typhon. What the hell?
What you experienced was a reconstruction based on Morgan's memories.
Dude.
This is the world today.
Holy shit.
We spent years trying to put what you can do into us. We never tried putting what we can do into you. Until now. You're the bridge between our species. I need to know if you see us. I mean, really see us. Take my hand if you do.
How do I change if I wanted to?
We're gonna shake things up, like old times.
Dude. What the hell? That is... Okay. I've said before that I do not like sort of like Matrix style how do I say this? I guess twists. Like, the big reveal is, oh, like you were plugged into the system, you're fine, or it was all a dream, you were in a coma and you woke up. But this is sort of a twist on that twist, and that was wildly unexpected. I had no idea. Humans killed 3, rescued humans 12, neuromods install 110. Dang. Abilities required 25, Typhon powers required. That's nuts. To think that each one of those people that we helped that had like big consequential actions, like Danielle and Igwe, that they were actually just operators the whole time. That is crazy. But I wonder, is that, we're going to look this up because I don't know if this is going to be, if that's like the definitive ending or what. But that changed a lot of things. That is insane to me how that went down. Like, I mean, I chose Alex in the end because of 2 reasons. One, because I thought he was Morgan's brother, so I thought we were, you know, together. Morgan may have died for real, and maybe that's why a Typhon was built around Morgan's memories using, you know, whatever technology they've got there. But also because I thought, like, there was a lot of sacrifices made for this technology. Everybody died because of the Typhon, and, well, not everybody, but so many people on the station died. A lot of crew members lost their lives. So it would have made sense to try and preserve what technology you can so they didn't die in vain. It just made more sense. It was like the greater good. Yeah, you risk the Earth, but if what Alex said was true and we were able to use the Nullwave transmitter thing and put them all down or whatever, then it was worth the chance of trying to get everything and then preparing to fight them. And also, it's like, you have one Nullwave transmitter, and if it worked, then you could probably do it again. It's not clear whether or not the Typhon would have been able to fight back on that, or have like some sort of evolutionary shield that would develop around them and make them invulnerable to that. But I don't know. Either way, it worked. But that was a wild freaking ending. Holy crap. Did not see that coming at all. But I don't know. Let's read the Prey fandom. I like looking at every time this is something that I want to make sure you guys know. Every time I do a playthrough of any kind, I always look at the fandom. I always take a look at character information, things that I missed in the game. A game like this, which has so many files, documents, and other things like that you have to read journals and emails and whatever, that I don't get a chance to read because I don't see them all. I mean, it's impossible for me to see them all on a single playthrough, I think. I wouldn't be able to find them all. So I thought, you know what, why don't we look at the Prey fandom and follow the characters, read about what you can there, and I do this for everything. And anytime I take information directly from one of the fandoms, though they're like fan wikis or whatever, I always paste in the description box and link to the place that I got it. Usually, if you ever find a video where I didn't do that, it's because I forgot. I always 100% try to give them credit where I'm using it. But I like to read the plots here and see what I missed. So it says, okay, so we'll start here. A gargantuan Typhon called the Apex appears and begins to devour Talos I. Morgan is then given the choice of activating the station's self-destruct sequence or building a Nullwave device to defeat the Typhon. If Morgan chooses to activate the Nullwave device, all of the Typhon on Talos I are destroyed. Okay, that's good to know. And the station is left intact to allow further neuromod research, which I think was the right choice. I still think that's right. If Morgan chooses to activate the self-destruct, then the entire station explodes, destroying all the Typhon with it. So either way, they would have all been destroyed. Based on Morgan's earlier choices, Morgan can either find a way to escape the station or is stranded and dies in the explosion as well. I did read that if you let Igwe die, and you kill Dahl, then your escape option is removed. You can't escape from the station. But again, before we move on to the next post-credits detail that we just looked at, seeing what they said, this was probably the coolest plot twist regarding you waking up and it was like all a trial or something like that. So that means that no one actually died, I think. That's what it suggests. But on top of that, this is probably the only game where I thought my choices really made a difference. Every game that I played, from Skyrim to Fable to any game at all that gives you like sort of plus positive points or minus the negative points, becoming evil and good, whatever. Star Wars games do this too when you're playing as a character. This is the only time I ever really felt like our choices had a significant impact on how you play or how the outcome is, based off of this final scene in this video. At first, when we left her to die, I was like, okay, it's a side quest. We deal with those all the time, no big deal. I don't know what it was about Igwe, but he stood out to me as being a far more significant character. And as a result of that, that made me want to help him more. Michaela, I was like, well, I don't really have a connection to you. I don't really care. But Igwe was constantly in my ear, constantly talking to me. We had a connection to him, and I felt like I should help out. When Salazar, I think she was the one, when she was talking about all the people that we saved after Dahl had tried to cut off the oxygen supply or whatever that was going on then, that would have resulted in all of them asphyxiating and dying. I just felt like we hadn't done enough good, and it was important to do good, I felt like it's valuable to do the right thing when you can, even in a video game sometimes. Yeah, don't get me wrong, like, it's fun to go freaking crazy and play the dark guy and, just simulate what that's like and take people out and stuff like that. But, like, ultimately, I think everybody really wants to be a good person. And so I really wanted to help out those characters. And I think Salazar also talked to Morgan quite a bit, and there was a strong connection there too. And I wanted to help Alex because he's supposed to be the brother. Like, we're siblings. If I had a brother in real life, or a sister or a sibling of any kind like that, whatever, like, I feel like I have their back. I would want to be someone that's connected to them. And maybe I'm just being sappy. It's just a video game. I get that. But at the same time, the choices that you make in a video game sometimes can be a reflection of what choices you'd make in real life. Granted, this is a work of fiction. We're not in space. It's not the future. Like, there's not monsters out there and whatever that we know of. And I'm not dealing with the science of it. But to see each one of these operators reveal themselves and tell us, like, hey, like, we were the people that you helped out. Danielle Shows and Abigail Foy's were probably the two biggest impactors on my decision making in this game. I was so invested in their relationship. It was so beautiful and sweet, and to hear them go through their struggles, I really just wanted to find. I think Danielle's the one we found, right? Abby was the one who died, I think. I get them mixed up sometimes based on name, but the one that we went to see, I think, was Danielle, right? That's what he said, I think, the operator. Like, I cared so much about their love, and knowing that there was some psychopath that had taken that away really broke me. And so we didn't actually see what happened to Danielle, but I remember much later, after she had said that she was running out of O2, she was still alive, according to the life signs on the crew manifest, maybe? The crew list in the computer, where it was like, okay, these people are all dead. We found this person, they're alive, or there's no signal, we don't know, whatever. But it showed that she was alive much later in the game after we had killed the cook. But that just felt right. That felt not like revenge. That felt like justice. Especially since the guy tried to kill Morgan, after all. But to see each one of these be like, actually, I'm an operator, and you are a Typhon, and we are trying to make you more human, like us. And so, in the end, it seems like that whole simulation was not real, because it's a simulation, right? So the simulation was real, but the events that took place inside the simulation weren't real because of the simulation. But those people didn't die, which is much nicer. But it makes you wonder what actually happened to Morgan Yu. And it also makes you wonder, like, was that operator January? Was that actually Morgan? Like, what? I don't know. Let's keep reading and figure this out. In a post-credits scene, Morgan wakes up in a lab and learns that they are not the real Morgan, but instead a captured Typhon implanted with Morgan's memories in an effort to teach it human emotions and empathy. The real Morgan is implied to be dead, which is what I got from that too. Is implied to be dead, and the Typhon have already spread on Earth. Alex and his operator assistants, known as Dave Igwe, Michaela Ilyashin, Danielle Show, and Sarah Elazar, then judge Morgan based on the choices it made throughout the game. If Igwe stated that Morgan failed to show human empathy, then Alex destroys it and starts the experiment over. Oh, so he did make enough empathetic choices. If Igwe states that Morgan did show human empathy, whether it was middle or high, Alex lets it go, whereupon it can choose to accept his offer to become an ambassador between the species or kill him and join the rest of its kind in the extermination of humanity. Interesting. Curiously, though, it didn't seem like there was a different ending than that. So we did the right choice, which is nice. That gave us a lot more freedom. We killed a lot of people. Well, no, we didn't actually. How many did we kill? 3. So we killed 3. We rescued 12. So that's a pretty good balance, I think. And it was only because we killed those ones, not knowing what to do. And then I think there was another handful of humans that died because they just exploded. Like, I couldn't save them. So the game doesn't really hold that against you. And we got a lot more human abilities acquired than the Typhon ones. But the Typhon's ones, I only wanted ones where I could transform and shoot Psychic Blast. We got the electric one, but I didn't really use it that much because that thing sucked. I'm glad the survival mode options were turned off. That would have been a nightmare. And normal was actually much harder than what I would have expected a normal game to be. That was very difficult for me. Also, too, there's a list of Easter eggs here. Let's take a look. We're going to look at a couple. While the game has no direct connection to the original Prey, it has some indirect similarities. Both games feature a wrench. Both games are set on floating spacecraft. Both games feature... That's stupid. A coffee mug with a TranStar logo appears as a collectible in The Evil Within 2, another game published by Bethesda. It can be found in the Sanctuary Hotel in the business district behind the receptionist. Did we get that one? I think the last game that we played right before Prey, if you look at the Mark After Dark, every time we do a Mark After Dark one, I take the game and I put the playlist of the whole playthrough, right, in the all walkthroughs playthrough section in alphabetical order, but I also have the Mark After Dark section that has them in the order in which we play them and publish them online. So the last playthrough that we had in that section was Evil Within 2. It went 1, 2, and then Prey. And we got a whole bunch of different collectibles, but I don't think I got that mug. Or if I did, I didn't remember, or I don't remember because we didn't really have any significant connection to Prey at that time. But we got like the Doom collectible, we got the Bethesda collectible, or the Fallout collectible. It was a little bobblehead. The Doom was a Doom guy figure that you see in the Doom 2016 game. Something like that. And then we also got the Elder Scrolls game. And I think I got one more. Damn, I really wish I could go and check and see that now. if that was the case. I wonder, you know what? I'm going to double check this. I'm very curious about this. Hold on. Let's see. The Evil Within. We should have got a... achievement for that. Evil Within 2. Let's see. View the achievements. Okay. Spiritual Awakening. It doesn't show our collectibles. I thought the achievement would have been unlocked there for finding the collectibles, but it didn't. Anyway, so couldn't really tell. That's fine. That's life. Whatever. Maybe we got it, maybe we didn't. Doesn't really matter. Either way, that's kind of fun. Let's take a look, though. I am curious about what other Easter eggs we have here. Yeah, I noticed this. Antoinette Sokol, which is a play on Anton Sokolov, who was from Dishonored. I recognize that. Let's see. Arcane Studios references, postcard, movie posters, press sneak, movie reference, 2001: A Space Odyssey. Yeah. Corvo Container Corporation. The name shares his name with Corvo Atano, first protagonist of Arcane Studios series Dishonored. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I guess there's not really much here. Let me see what we got. I wonder if they're going to do a sequel to this, because I know that we have still a DLC that we're going to do. I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be fun. Damn, Danielle Show. I wonder, let's take a look on Morgan Yu. Morgan Yu is the Vice President, Director of Research, Transfer Industries, and the player character of the game, as well as blah, 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 blah. Player can choose Morgan's gender at the start of Prey. So really, that makes a difference. I wonder what the male voice is. It's Tim Kang is the male voice actor. He was in Rambo, 2 Weeks Notice, The Forgotten, Wrinkle in Time. Oh, he was in the Marvel series Cloak and Dagger. Yeah, I don't know him. And then we played as the female version, who is Sumili Montano. She's in Ghost of Tsushima as a character, apparently. What else is she in? Scooby-Doo and Guess Who, Robot Chicken, Paw Patrol, Carmen Sandiego. Yeah, she's not really in a lot. Apparently she's in World of Warcraft Shadowlands. Oh, she was in Spider-Man Miles Morales. Star Trek Picard. Okay, so there's whatever. Let's see. I want to read this a little bit. Let's do a background on Morgan, because typically these videos are about an hour long and we're at like 30 minutes. And if you're wondering what my end thoughts are, we talked a lot about this throughout the video. I have my criticisms of the controls, the complicated mechanics, and the circumstances or situations that were placed in where it's like, oh, you don't get to use first person like guns and stuff here, right? First person shooter elements here, because it's not about first person shooting, even though you are first person and you get the guns. It's like, dude, there's not nearly enough ammunition to survive in this game. I couldn't imagine playing this on a more difficult difficulty. I typically do easy for these playthroughs, but I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to be a wimp. Not that you're a wimp if you play on easy. I'm just saying I don't want to, whatever, you know what I'm saying. So I was like, all right, we'll do normal, but damn, that was hard. That felt like if you told me that was hard difficulty, I would have believed it. But I get that I was also probably playing the game the wrong way a little bit, but whatever. But like I said, if you're wondering, highly recommend this game. I mean, I would play this again. This was a hell of a good time. I'd give it probably an 8.75 out of 10. The only thing holding it back was the unintuitive controls and how difficult some circumstances felt, because the game didn't give you a lot of opportunity to, fight off enemies that could one-shot you very well. A lot of great powers, though. Some stuff in the game could have been fine-tuned a little bit. There were also a couple of bugs that we saw that were game-breaking, such as that instance where there was a corpse that had a key card that we needed. It was an essential key item to move forward in the main campaign. And if you pick it up and then you die, and then it reloads you, the corpse doesn't have it on the body anymore that you pick it up from, and it's not in your inventory, so it doesn't say that you picked it up. So I had to go to like an earlier save, and luckily I had saved right before all that happened, so I only had like an extra 30 seconds to catch up to where I was and recover the stuff that I had lost between that death and save point. But then I went back to the corpse, got the key card, and I was able to move forward. But that, if I didn't do that, that was very lucky. That could have screwed me big time. And then also the controller stuff was a total nightmare, in my opinion. Anyway, I want to read about Morgan Yu because I want to just wrap up everything that we know about the character leading into the Typhon thing at the end. So according to the Prey fandom, this is what they say. Morgan Yu was born in 2005 as a second child of Catherine Yu, a German businesswoman, and William Yu, an accomplished Chinese neuroscientist. We didn't really know much about Catherine. We only heard about William Yu because he was going to freaking kill us. But again, maybe that wasn't real because, or you know what? They said that the Typhon there was a memory, or was reliving the memories of Morgan, the real Morgan. So maybe that did actually happen. It's hard to say what actually happened. Their older brother is Alex Yu. In 2027, after they graduated from the Imperial College School of Science with a Doctor of Science degree in neuroscience, Morgan was employed by Transtar Industries, their parents' company, in the testing of an experimental device known as neuromod. In 2032, Morgan was transferred to Transtar's orbital space station, where over the course of the next 3 years, they would be instrumental in the invention of the psychoscope, which I feel like there were some really useful functionalities of the psychoscope, but other times it's like, I don't actually need this. I used it mostly for damage reduction or to scan for mimics, and that was pretty much it. You didn't really need it anywhere else that much. Maybe there was, I could have had more of a player advantage if I utilized it, but what are you gonna do? Morgan volunteered to be the main test subject in the experiments to grant humans Typhon abilities, fully aware that as part of the trials, their memories would be erased over and over again as the neuromods were installed and then removed. Towards this end, Morgan was placed in a simulation of their apartment while they are still on Earth and made to relive the same day of their life over and over again. Subsequent removal and adding of various neuromods showed a previously unknown side effect of personality drift, as well as slowly influencing various portions of their mind in different directions. This caused Morgan's personality to be completely changed in a way that their previous opinions were wiped away and was left mentally unstable, resulting in violent outbursts. At some point in time, Morgan figured out what was happening and escaped, but foreseeing that they would be captured again, they reprogrammed an operator named January to help the future amnesiac self by planting neuromods that would be able to help Morgan fight their way out of the station and telling them what they have forgotten due to the removal of neuromods, which just means that January was a good guy after all. However, Morgan was eventually recaptured and had their memory erased again. Morgan's main goal at this point in time would be to destroy Talos I, and with the Typhon and the threat they presented to the human race. So that's weird to me, though, that she wanted to do that. I don't know, whatever. In the beginning of the game, Morgan wakes up when it seems to be an apartment on Earth in San Francisco. They are contacted by their brother Alex, who tells them that they need to travel to the Transtar building. They put on their Transtar uniform and are taken to the Transtar building by helicopter. They meet their brother and partake in a series of tests until a mimic takes the form of Dr. Bellamy's coffee cup and begins to attack the scientists. The staff use a gas to sedate Morgan, who is knocked out. Morgan wakes up once again in their apartment and are contacted via email by a science operator named January. It tells Morgan that they need to escape from their apartment. In doing so, they find themselves in a lab and learn that the apartment, the helicopter, and the lab was just a series of carefully disguised sets designed to make them believe that they were still on Earth. As Morgan escapes from the lab, they witness and battle against mimics and phantoms. They learn that they are on a space station called Talos I, which is owned by Transtar, their parents' company. January makes contact with Morgan and leads them back to their office, granting them access to more neuromods and a video where a past version of Morgan explains part of the situation before being abruptly cut off by their brother Alex. After being cut off, they go to find Dr. Calvino's office to restore the connection to the looking glass servers which Alex had cut them off from. Upon returning to the office and resuming the video, Morgan is informed by their past self that they must destroy Talos I, stating that nothing can be allowed to survive, including themselves, and all research to ensure the Typhon never reach Earth, informing them of their former plan to destroy Talos I using a pair of arming keys to detonate the station's reactor. Morgan thus embarks on a journey throughout the station in order to reach deep storage and access their own arming key, fighting the Typhon and dealing with survivors they encounter along the way. Okay. After the credits, skipping them will not skip what follows. Gameplay resumes in a secret office. As long as the player did not choose to end the game by using Alex's use escape pod, they will be faced by Alex Yu and operator versions of 4 other characters. Igwe, Michaela, Elazar, and Daniel Sho which the player has the option to interact with in various ways during the course of the game. It is revealed at this point that the player character is in fact not Morgan, but instead a special type of Typhon that has essentially been neuromodded in reverse, imposing human-like empathy on a Typhon brain. Alex shows the creature that Earth is now filled with coral, explaining that humanity has spent years using Typhon-based upgrades, but they have never considered putting human traits into a Typhon. Apparently the reason why they created the hybrid test subject, a Typhon organism with cells from Morgan, a human, with the hopes of finding out if it possessed such traits as empathy using a complex simulation based on reconstruction of Morgan-used memories. The real Morgan is implied to be dead at this point in the simulation. Will be ruled to either be a failure or success based on the player's actions. If it is a failure due to overwhelmingly evil actions, the scene will simply end there, with the Michaela operator declaring they need to start over. Presumably this would indicate that multiple Morgan Typhon creatures were made for testing. If a success, the player will be given a final choice. They may either take Alex Yu's hand, at which point the dark hand of the Typhon will take on a human appearance, confirming their hopes that the hybrid will be able to empathize and relate to see humans or kill them all, which will result in the dark Typhon hand forming a sharp tentacle, which will then impale and kill Alex Yu, while all the operators are destroyed by a blast of power and fall to the ground. If the player instead chose to use Alex Yu's escape pod to leave the station on their own, they will only receive a short game over sequence showing a computer interface with Alex declaring in the background, "We failed. This isn't the one," and the Michaela operator saying to start over. Very interesting. Very, very interesting indeed. That's pretty cool. So as it turns out, we made the right choices as much as we could. I mean, it looks like there was a handful of things that we could have done better, but that was the end of that. Now, this is not the end of Prey necessarily. This is just the end of the campaign. We still have the DLC that we're going to play and take a look at later. For now, though, I think we've covered a lot. This game was phenomenal. Campaign was beautiful. The scenery was beautiful. The dialogue was beautiful. The characters were beautiful. The gunplay wasn't, well, the glue gun was beautiful, specifically. Everything else lacked a little bit. Shotgun was okay. I would give the glue gun an A+. That had... well, A- maybe. There was a handful of times it didn't work when I wanted it to, and it looked like that was a bug thing. The shotgun, I'd probably give like a C-, C+, in that ballpark range, a C. Everything else, I would say, sort of fell flat often. But the wrench especially, damn, that was a pain in the ass to use. But either way, this was a fantastic game. If you're wondering whether or not you should get it, get it. This is a game that you should get. If you like first-person perspective, if you like the survival horror, and I still believe that's what this is. There wasn't as much gore as your typical survival horror situation. This isn't like a Resident Evil, Silent Hill type thing, but there is a lot of death, and there is enough blood, I think, to satiate your desire to feel that impending doom and fear while playing a survival horror game. Prey showed up to me, I think, and reminded me that I should get it as I was going through some horror games to add to my playlists, my personal playlist that I've got on games that I want to play for the purpose of Mark After Dark. Never would I have thought that that's actually what this was, but it showed up because it's like, oh, you played these scary games, try this one. And this game, I guess, is one of the titles that I've come across where it's a great hybrid of non-horror but also horror, because there's some really horrifying things in here. These monsters that come after you, the Typhon, are, I mean, they're relentless, they're intimidating, they are terrifying, they're powerful, they're fast, they're swift, they are just extremely dangerous. And I think that that level of stress that we went through throughout the game to try and avoid them or defeat them was cool, and that was a lot of fun, and that had enough scares, I think, to be considered. So maybe survival horror might be a little bit too strong, but it is a scary game, I would say. And I think that there's just so much beauty and things to appreciate. Arcane created a masterpiece here that could have been a perfect game if, and by my own standards. I mean, you might think it's perfect, someone else might not, but someone else might think it's perfect as well. But if they had tweaked a few things that I come across that was a little bit difficult to deal with throughout the playthrough. So if you watched all the videos, then maybe you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, that is a wrap on the main campaign. We still have Moon Crash, so you can look forward to that starting in the next episode of the Prey Through. If you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed the discussion, if you enjoyed the campaign, hit the like button. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel. If you have any feedback for me, leave it in the comment section. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Otherwise, thank you for your time in watching the campaign. Hopefully you'll stick around for the DLC and Moon Crash. I'm looking forward to that and seeing what that's all about. I don't know if that's a direct sequel, a spinoff, if it happens at the same time during this Talos I debacle. But we'll find out in the next episode of the playthrough, which debuts tomorrow at 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on the Marcanine channel, part of Mark After Dark. Anyway, that's it from me. Take care, be well, and I hope to see you next time when we continue on with our playthrough of Prey with the DLC Moon Crash. All right, guys, take care, be well, and I'll see you later.